Finally, the Niners are taking control of their draft narrative. Yo, what's up? Welcome to 49ers on SI Live, presented by Prize Picks. We're your hosts, the editors of 49ers on SI, Grant Cohn, Jose Sanchez. We're doing like a special emergency instant reaction to Kyle Shanahan's 15-minute interview with Rich Eisen today. The draft didn't go so well for the Niners in the moment, but that was like days ago. And now the Niners are the big winners of the draft because they have done an all-out media blitz. And there have been so many Rich Eisens out there who've been willing to help them, which I think is wonderful and generous and speaks to the human, heart and how generous people can be. I love that because I'm the most generous person that I know. Jose's number 2. Jose, how are you?
Doing all right. I just can't help but contain my laughter after what I just watched.
I mean, Rich Eisen really pressed Kyle, to be fair. I mean, he was like, what are you talking about, man? How can you say this? But Kyle, we learned a lot. So why don't we start with what we learned, and then we'll get to our skepticism later, maybe. Kyle Shanahan explained how he scouts. I thought this was really interesting. You should check out, if you haven't watched the interview yet, check it out, 15 minutes. He says he doesn't watch college football until February, as we know. Then what he does is he gets all of his position coaches to make highlight reels of the top 200 players in the draft for him. Then he watches the highlight tapes. And if he doesn't like the player's highlight tapes, he doesn't want to see anything else. He writes them off immediately. So to get Kyle to like a player, his position coach has to make a killer highlight tape. And then for those 2 months between February and March, he watches all the highlight tapes and inevitably falls in love with certain players. And then the Niners have to figure out how they want to navigate the draft board to get Kyle Shanahan's crushes. He said that, right?
Yeah. No, he literally said that. And
so
I don't know if you or anyone else watching has ever remembers that MTV show called Next, where it was like a form of blind dating. So pretty much what Kyle Shanahan's like, the guy or the girl is waiting for the prospect to hit his table. He's like, all right, here's the prospect coming out. Here's the highlight tape. And in that moment, he's going to say, next, I don't like anything in this highlight tape. Or he's going to be like, I'm intrigued. Let's go on a second date. Let me see more. Let's go to the next hour so I can figure out what's going on here with this guy or girl. So that's just the cynical mind I just had just listening to that. But I mean, look, when you're a guy, when you're a coach who went deep into the playoffs, because your divisional round is fairly deep, right? It's not like you went all the way to the end, but still you won a playoff game. Was how much time does it really have? Number one, and then number two, I think it's been known for years that he's not overly fond of the NFL draft and the whole process.
He said it, right? He was like, I don't like watching college football. This is my least favorite part of the year.
Yeah, look, even before this year, he has said something to that. He's like, I'm just glad I don't. He said that in a press conference, a post-draft press conference before. I don't remember which year. I don't know if it was 5 years ago or 4, whatever. The point is, it's literally on the record. He has said, like, I'm just happy I don't have to watch any more college film. Because, I mean, look, you think about it, it's like, bro, I just got done with this heartbreaking playoff loss, and now I have to, like, debunk the season and now turn the page instantly in a snap to college football. This sucks, but it comes with the territory, But I think it does kind of, it just reaffirms the idea that these guys do tend to reach in these drafts, and because they kind of have a lock-on target, it's like almost like auto aim for those video game nerds out there like me. It's just, you just auto aim to this guy, like, wait, I like this highlight tape. Let me see more and more and more. I like it. I fall in love. And he did allude to it. He says, like, you just fall in love with these players, and that's just the way you just end up progressing through the draft. And like, I want this guy. And that kind of felt that way when they got to Stribling. It's like, we love this guy, move down. That feels like a steal. Like, we don't care who else is going to go down, and we'll be happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way maybe Schneider or Howie Roseman draft is like, we're cool with a range of players here, and our coaches will work with them. Kyle seems like he locks in, like, I have to have this 1 second-round wide receiver. I can't have Jeremy Bernard. I can't have Denzel Boston. I have to have DeJon Stribling, which means if everyone thinks he's going to go at 58, then I'm going to take him at 33 to make sure I get my guy, because God freaking forbid. And here's the thing what's so interesting. Like, I love Kyle for doing this interview. He should have done it with me and you, but he did with Rich Eisen, and he was very forthcoming, which was great. And I think, dude, the highlight thing is so telling. Like, how do you end up with Ty Davis Price in round 3? How do you end up with Trey Sermon in round 3? How do you end up with Joe Williams in round 4? Well, those guys had killer highlights because Ty Davis Price had a 300-yard game in college, and Joe Williams had a 300-yard game in college, and Trey Sermon had an incredible game in the college football playoffs. Like, you can wow Kyle Shanahan with a highlight, like one good game, one good year. Like Kalen Black had a great year last year. What did he do before then in college? You know what I mean? It's like, I think Kyle Shanahan can sort of fall for these one game wonders or 1 year wonders. And then he all of a sudden has this like super crush on the player and the whole organization. What are you going to tell him, man? It's who he wants.
Yeah, this circling back, I've said even 2 weeks ago, like, what is it why you don't want to see the 49ers draft wide receivers on day 3 is because they don't really know what they're looking at. Their process is very flawed. And also, if you were going to draft a receiver, do it early because, hey, the future of the position, right? So I get the position at that moment. I get it. Draft because there's no future. Like, what are you going to do? But this kind of goes to it. He sees Stribling and just his overall process, like you mentioned, Kalen Black. He sees more of the immediate need than like, can I look at longevity? Like, okay, maybe he can help a little bit now and then be better later on. I just think he just looks for who's the most finished product right now in college that I can get. And that's always a coach's flaw. That's not necessarily unique to Kyle Shanahan either. Like other coaches like mess up that way. But for him, it's just over and over again. That's where I'm not really so banging the drum on John Lynch has got to go. Cause it's like, look, it's not like Lynch is doing this without Kyle's approval or hearsay, right? Especially in the first 3 rounds. My understanding was just by my like studying of the team is Kyle Shanahan, first 3 rounds, he's on it. And then after that, he kind of like checks out a little bit, or maybe he's just like, yeah, okay, cool. If you want this guy, that's all good. You know, that's how they end up drafting. What is it? What was his name? Not Jalen Duggar. Jaden Duggar. Cause probably KJ Wright, you know, like put through his name in a hat. He's like, hey, I want this guy. So I mean, look at last year. Last year didn't feel so much like a Kyle Shanahan draft. I think they deviated power to Robert Saleh a lot.
Yep.
And I bet you that maybe that was under the table thing. Like, hey, Robert, we want you back. It's like, well, I want some head coach to say, okay, we'll give you the draft. Cause guess what? I don't like the draft anyways. Yep. And it turns out that might be like a fairly solid draft. Maybe not necessarily like stars or greats, but a lot of quality players. Like, okay, cool. They can fill out a roster. But yeah,
doesn't it feel like an antiquated system to just be like, hey, I'm the GM and I'm going to turn over all of the drafting responsibilities and decisions to my coach, who's going to turn over the highlight. Like, he's going to ask his position coach. He's not going to watch college football, which he shouldn't, man. He's coaching the NFL. He's not going to turn on any tape until February. And then the tape he's going to watch is highlight reels made by his position coaches. I mean, like, look, I'm sure that led to George Kittle and Fred Warner, and there have been some successes. It just seems like over 10 years, it's clear that process isn't really as efficient as what Howie Roseman's doing. And I'm sure it's not. I mean, because Howie Roseman, all he does is watch college film 24/7 every day of the year. He's not like catching up in February. He's not asking position coaches to make him highlight reels. I don't think you can be one of the better drafting teams in the league if that's your process. And the question is, does it matter? Because the Niners have had a lot of winning seasons. I think it matters because they haven't won a Super Bowl, and that's what you're trying to accomplish, and they haven't accomplished it.
Yeah, because just imagine if 1 draft or 2 drafts went like just relatively well, then maybe they do like win that 1 Super Bowl, or maybe they do have those less. They don't have those fall offs in 2020 or especially 2024, right? Because what happened in 2024? Right. People allude to the injuries. Like, well, guess why they couldn't win games? They didn't have depth. Why don't you have
that? Was a disgusting season in retrospect, man. Yeah, you lost McCaffrey, but you had hell of people, including your quarterback, and you won 6 games, dude. Damn.
Yeah, and even then to this day, like the injuries played a part, but it's not like the injuries came at once. Like 2020. 2020 is like the most like, okay, yeah, that one I'm down if you want to say injuries, right? But 2024
was like a Nick Mullen season.
Yeah. So it's like, what are you going to do? But 2024 was like, there were injuries, but none of them came out once until maybe like the last quarter of the season, last third. So like they were always having those issues, and it kind of goes back to it. Why aren't you going for these players in the draft? That it just becomes when you become entrapped into this closed-minded, like I want this guy, no buts, no hearsay. Like, what if there was like someone that felt to them that they didn't really study enough, and turns out it was a great fit, but because he fell in love with, say, Stribling in this case or Black, then you can't really open your eyes, open your mind to whoever else is there for you to draft.
Yeah, agree. Like maybe not a wide receiver. Bill Kennedy said, beyond me, why we don't draft a starter, need offensive line. Yeah, no one ever asked Kyle. Maybe I should have. It was like, hey, okay, we've been talking about reaching and consensus board for all week. What about why were you so locked in on a wide receiver with the first pick? But we don't know that for a fact. One of the things he said in this interview that was interesting is that Stribling was not plan A with their first pick at 27. They didn't want to trade up because they didn't want to give up any of their six. Like they only had 6 picks. They wanted more picks, not less picks. So they didn't want to trade up, but they did hope that someone with the first round grade would drop to 27, i.e. Stribling does not have a first round grade, second round grade. So he said that there were a couple of people, or one or two, I guess, that they were hoping would drop and didn't. And I'm asking you, who do you think those players were that were plan A? I mean, or if it was just one, who do you think their top guy was? Potential names: Dylan Thieneman. They didn't draft a safety though. Malachi Lawrence, who went to Dallas, and Casey Concepcion, who went to Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm right on board that it's Casey Concepcion because that's the guy who I thought was a perfect fit. Now he was a good player, but I thought it was a great fit because of what they need. And look, he doesn't have the blocking like a Stribling does, but I'm sure Shanahan's thinking like, I need playmakers, and it's like he has vast playmaking ability with the ball in his hand. That's what everyone keeps saying about Stribling, right? Well, this guy's better, and he has a cleaner route tree. Like he has more expansive, and he's crispier. Obviously, the drops are a concern, but I think you can work on that.
And they brought him in for a 30 visit.
Yeah, and they brought him in for a 30 visit.
They did not bring in Stribling. They said he was too busy.
So yeah. So I think Concepcion made sense, and like but they were 3 spots away. So I'm sure like by the time like even I was like, no way is Concepcion gonna be there, bro. Is he gonna be there? Because I was gonna start victory lapping, like, oh my god, I actually got a pick. I actually got a pick right for the first time in 6 years or so, whatever long it was. But I think that was their guy. And then obviously when the Browns take him, it's like, damn, like now we gotta go to Plan B. Now we got to go to Plan B, and that's where
they already had the worst kept secret in the world that the Niners wanted Casey Concepcion. Everyone linked the Niners to Concepcion.
Did they? Because I saw a bunch of, I saw linkage.
I mean, my dumbass didn't, but I feel like most people that like realized the Niners wanted to take a wide receiver were like, Casey. If they take Casey, that's a great pick. And I think the whole league knew it, and there was probably no chance they were going to make it. He was going to make it to 27.
I think it was pretty obvious the league people knew like wide receiver was on the table for sure. But they also threw out offensive lineman. Maybe that changed once Trent Williams signs 3-4 days before that, right? Because it was literally just 7, 8, 9, 10 days ago that he just signed that extension. So I think almost if you're the 49ers, maybe you're in that situation, you probably tell, hey, Trent, let's release this news next week so we can keep the league thinking we're going for offensive linemen. Maybe the Browns think we like Concepcion. Maybe then I don't know. Maybe we can wait. I don't know. It's just the better information you hold together, the better your chances are to just be like, we got the guy we definitely wanted. There was no one jumping us. And that's what the Rams did, as stupid as I think it is. But it's like, hey, at least like they kept it a secret. No one saw it coming, which adds to the WTF factor. Like, whoa, who saw that coming? Great job holding on to that secret.
So it looked like Concepcion was the first choice. They don't get him. Then they trade down to 30. Kyle says on this interview today that they would have taken Stribling at 30. They liked him that much, but they showed restraint, traded down to 33, considered trading down again to 39 or 40, but ultimately were too worried that he wouldn't be there, felt it would be 50-50 at 39 or 40, and admitted that they reached, in their eyes, about 10 picks for DeJon Stribling, who they feel like that's not really a reach. And they said, like, what he said was, Stribling originally was presented to him as a guy they could get at the end of round 2. That's how he popped up on his radar. And the more he watched him, the more he fell in love. He developed a player crush, which he always does. I mean, he did once upon a time with Dante Pettis. This time it's DeJon Stribling. So now it goes to, here's one of the guys we would like at the end of round 2 to, here's a guy we have to have. Here's a guy we would be willing to take it at the end of round 1. But let's drop back to the beginning of round 2 to take. That's how they ended up with DeJon Stribling. Kyle Shanahan fell in love. That happens.
Yeah, let's say that it's a guaranteed fact. Like, hey, me and you stepped through this door and it says, hey, Stribling was going at 44, guys, or 45. And it's like, you told me that, like, so they reached for 12 picks? That's fine. I mean, like, yeah, it's a little reach, but that's fine. I think when I hear Stribling, I'm like, who? Like, I remember barely reading over his profile. Like, I spent no more than 5 minutes on this guy. I just think like from everyone who's smarter than me, from all the friends I know who cover like who are like draft analysts for like Bleacher Report or whatever outlets, they're just like, what was that? Like, I did not expect him to be there. And of course, it kind of goes to like Shannon said, like, oh, what do you media guys know? Or like, what the hell, like our board? And it's like, well, I mean, it's a lot more hell than you guys know, considering your history, especially the last 5 years. Like, my thing is, when Shanahan's saying like, oh, we were gonna go at 39, or we were presenting him at the end of round 2, but we took him in the beginning because we feared someone was going to take him at like 36 or 37 or whatever. And it's like, do you guys even like? Can we actually even like trust that was your guys' thing? Like maybe you believed it, but it's flawed because why do you have so many whiffs and misses in the last 5 years? So I'm not going to really like. I'm gonna believe what they say. Like I understand that's what you guys thought, but I'm not going to believe it was right because of what you guys shown us. And maybe this pick and everything is smooth and it's like, wow, this guy's a great wide receiver too. But still, that doesn't like negate all the history that's giving us cause for criticism and just concern of like, what are you guys doing? Because you're the guys who made your bed in the first place.
It seems to me that when you give the head coach all the personnel power in the draft and he spends 2 months looking at film and it's mostly highlights, what he's going to do is create a short list of players that he loves. He's not going to go into the draft being like, man, there's 70 players I like. He's going to be like, there's like 15 players I like. And probably at each position, it's not that deep. And so if we're right that he wanted Casey Concepcion and didn't get him, then he's probably thinking like, damn, man, if we don't get DeJon Stribling, there's like no more wide receivers I like. So let's take him now, even though we would have been cool taking maybe like Malachi Lawrence at 27 and then waiting, maybe getting DeJon Stribling at 58. We got to get him right now. And it's my question is, are you sure he's going to be better than Denzel Boston? Are you sure he's going to be better than Jeremy Bernard? Because you could have traded down to 39. He said that. And let's say Stribling isn't there, which I think there's probably a good chance he would have been there. But let's say he's not there. And you end up with Denzel Boston or who's the other guy I said?
Jeremy Bernard.
You don't know that those guys are going to be worse than Stribling. He even said himself, like with these players, it's 50-50 anyway. I mean, was his grade that much higher than those guys that you had to do that? That's why I wish the Niners would be a little bit more like polygamous. Why do you gotta have, they lock in, man. Why can't you like multiple people?
It's probably a dumb thing to say, but it's like kind of how we all treat it as like fantasy draft. Like you kind of have your pool of players like, yeah, I'm going to take this guy here. And if they're all gone, then damn, we're just gonna have to go to the next section. But I think also to maybe even take his side is this NFL draft class was regarded as very, very, very poo, like very bad. So, I mean,
and
it's
he alluded
like,
to that.
So yeah, exactly. So I think honestly, if he's watching film, like imagine how many no's he said on that highlight film. He's probably like, dude, this just sucks. Because honestly, like I said it before even the last 2 or 3 picks, maybe even earlier, that this draft class is going to be the epitome of we're never going to know what it is because barring injury, we're not going to know what these guys are. I mean, Stribling, how much snaps is Stribling going to get this year, to be honest? Like, even I said, is Casey Concepcion, if they drafted him, like, I could see Concepcion getting like 35 catches, 40 catches in like year 1. Like, how much is Stribling going to do? Like, all this hype up, like, yes, he's a blocker, but then now if you use him too much as blocking, it's going to be predictable. Guess what? It's running down. Like, you're going to
redshirt him until someone gets hurt. That's my prediction. He's not going to play until someone gets hurt.
Yeah,
and even then, he'll have to show that he's better than Jordan Watkins, who knows the system better than him. He's going to have to learn the system, man. We'll see how long that takes.
I think they're all the way out in those 2 guys. Cowing for sure. Cowing's a dead man walking. He's similar bow as Garendo, and then Watkins is probably on the fence. I mean, if
they have to, they'll keep Demarcus Robinson and play him over freaking Stribling because he knows the system.
Whoever knows is ready to go out there and execute.
Yeah. Charles Lemp, 1987 says we need new wide receiver and D-line coaches, most first and second round picks, nothing to show for Bosa. Yeah, I feel like they were better at drafting and developing wide receivers when their position coach was Welker. And as we know now, like position coaches are very important on the Niners because they're shaping the opinions of the people drafting the players. So Leonard Hankerson, we're looking at you, buddy. Bill Kennedy says Lynch needs to be kicked upstairs, need real GM. Again, this is very much a Kyle Shanahan issue. Notice who spoke today, not John Lynch. Daza says, even if Stribling wasn't there, who cares? Wide receivers a future need, but this year we have Evans, Pearsall, and Kirk, and Watkins, who we haven't seen yet. O-line and safety is more of a need. I think that's a great question. I feel like it's they've been able to sidestep the answering it because everyone's so focused on reaching.
I think the reason why it's also a breeze is because look, it's pick 33. This is a fringe first round pick. You're kind of look, it's not like top 15. You're not going to get like an immediate impact player, but maybe someone like could like offensive line starting guard. It's like, hey, this plug and play, still good starter. Like Basantis, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. That the Cardinals took a pick after. I just thought, but it was like a tough position again, like being there because it's like who are they going to get in this draft? This draft was lacking, but of course, like you want to move down more and get more bang for your buck than reach for a player like him.
All right, so we talked about how he wasn't their first choice, probably was Casey Concepcion, how they ended up with him in the first place or in the second place as plan B. This was so interesting. Then he starts talking about Kalen Black because, I mean, I feel like DeJon Stribling, a lot of people have come out and be like, actually, there was some rumors that he was rising. Maybe it was a smoke screen or maybe it wasn't. Maybe the media just didn't know and the league knew. That's what Kyle said, essentially. But then you go to Kalen Black, it's like, yeah, but what about the running back? Everyone agrees that was a reach, right? And so Kyle could have been like, yeah, who cares, right? But what he does is double down in a way that makes him Kyle Shanahan, and I love him for it. And he's like, you can see, like, should I say it? And he's like, I don't know of a nice way to say this, but we actually had him number 2 on our board, which is like ipso facto, we had him ranked higher than Jadarian Price, who's the starting running back for our rival. And to me, it's like, man, get out of here are you kidding me, dog? You really, first of all, why'd you say that publicly? Second of all, like, how did you allow Kalen Black to be ahead of Jadarian Price? Like, that was silly, man. Silliness. What'd you think of that?
I believed him because, like I told you before off screen, I think Kyle just watched Kalen Black's playoff run, college football playoff run, because that's when he was terrorizing defenses. He looked good. And like, not saying like,
I feel like you could tell Kyle right now, like, Kalen Black's 24, right? And he'd be like, what? I didn't know that. No one told me that. Sorry.
So I think that, so yeah, I do believe him. I do believe when he says they had number 2 because he just watched them and like, what was Notre Dame doing in the playoffs? Oh, they were at home. So, I mean, and then also he's probably thinking like, well, they had Jeremiah Love. So this guy probably like was maybe reaping the weaknesses of him, watering down the defense, something like that. Where Black, I literally saw him against Miami, like all these top tier defenses, and he was playing strong. He was running the ball strong. So that looks great because, like, hey, guess what? It's NFL. That's NFL competition. So that's not nothing. Of course, that should help him. But I just think, again, like, yes, you're right. That is the reaches of reaches. Everyone wants to talk about Stribling. Like, Stribling's a problem. No, but Kalen Black's the one I was just like, oh my God. I was literally here 3-4 weeks ago with you where I said, I told everyone, get ready for a running back. It's happening. But I said 4th or 5th round. I did not think a 3rd round. I thought those days were over with. So, and even if you get Kalen Black in the 4th round, I'm still thinking like that's rough because I personally liked Jonah Coleman better, Emmett Johnson better of Nebraska, like other running backs before you got to Black. So they liked him that much. Then it's because you literally saw him, be a force in those playoff games against NFL caliber players. And you think he can come in and be that relief guy for McCaffrey. So that was the thing that was just killer to me.
I just couldn't get over it. Second best running back in the draft. Why would you say that? Now you put even more pressure on him because people said it was a reach. Just been like, you know what? We'll see. Yeah, I understand that a lot of people, we liked him a lot. No, we actually thought he was the second best running back in the draft. We think Jadarian Price is trash. And they said like, well, okay, so we gave him a 3rd round grade where we took him, but we thought he was going to go in round 4. So we took him in round 3. Okay. And it's like, what if someone took him, man? Would that be the end of the freaking world that you didn't get Kalen Black? There's no other running backs in this draft that you like.
It's not like some can't miss prospect or something like that.
Yeah. That's the only running back. Like, if you had gotten Jadarian Price, you would have been like, damn, this sucks. We missed out on Kalen Black, who wasn't even the number 1 runner at Indiana last year. What are we going to do? Damn it. I love Kyle Shanahan for doing this interview, and I thought he was very open, and I think he has a great sense of humor. But, like, some of his answers is like, I wish I could follow up on that. Like, what? Huh? Did I mishear that? Number 2?
Well, he was number 2 on his team. I mean, the way he was listed, right? But which is kind of funny. The starting running back for Indiana went undrafted to the Raiders, so that's a little bit of the wow factor.
How many clips from his James Madison days were in 3-minute highlight clip that you watched and fell in love with? How many catches were in his highlight clip that you fell in love with?
He for sure was only told about pass catching at James Madison. Here's his clips from Indiana, and he's like, "Damn, he's doing this against Miami. He's doing this against these top. Like, what the hell? Like, I like this." And look,
also, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, look, what is Kyle Shanahan saying? That's the second best running back they thought in the draft class even mean? It's like, and it's echoing the same sentiment I had on the previous topic. It's like, wait, you guys think he's second best running back? No wonder why you guys suck at drafting running backs.
Thank you.
No wonder why. We're gonna trust. Wait, you think he's second? Then damn, that means he's guaranteed to be booty. Like, come on, like, look, once again, maybe Black is serviceable. Maybe he's a great starter for years to come. But when your history is Ty Davis Price, Trey Sermon,
Isaac Guerrero, Jordan James, like, I think that's a fair follow-up question for him that Rich Eisen should have asked. Like, hey, I understand that you went out on a limb and you aren't, influenced by consensus, and you just run your evaluation. And if your evaluation says that Kalen Black's the second best running back, then that's what he is. But like after miss after miss after miss and misevaluation after misevaluation, don't you sort of go back and be like, damn, maybe we're like evaluating wrong, and maybe we have to evaluate how we're evaluating, because it keeps giving us these ridiculous rankings that are hurting our team. I mean, we haven't gotten it right yet. So when this algorithm spits out Kalen Black, we're gotta be like, man, no, absolutely not. We're gonna go with the consensus board here. Sorry.
Well, what's funny? My cousin was like, hey, tell me about this guy. And I kind of tell him, and he's like, so we just drafted Michael James 2.0. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I mean,
Michael James was so much better than Kalen Black in college. Well, Michael James was so good in college.
Yeah, this pick is definitely like I wrote about it. Like, this is the worst pick I think the 49ers got, because it's the value. Like, he was the third running back taken. No running backs were taken in that draft. And it wasn't until 18 picks later that an actual solid running back was taken, and Jonah Coleman to the Broncos, which, okay, yeah, I see it. 4th round, exactly where the start of runs for running back should have gone. Like, it's funny, his logic that he uses for dribbling, like, oh, we were afraid, like, if he was going to get picked 8 or 10 picks away. And it's like, that one, I definitely understand more in relative terms to Kalen Black, because he could have been there in the 4th round, probably, most likely. I'm confident in saying that. Look, obviously, I'm not a mind reader, but I think given the way the draft was running, and this was a fairly mediocre running back class, there's articles and podcasts I listened to where people have said, like, this is the worst running back draft class I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, yeah, outside of Jeremiah Love, it's stinky. I mean, look, there's a reason why it goes Jeremiah Love, dead, Jadarian Price, and Price is mainly because the Seahawks needed it, right? It's like, he's a pretty solid core running back. I mean, what else? We're going to draft offensive lineman, defensive line. Like, nah, let's just go with this guy. I mean, look, even at 58, like, 58, like, even before that, like, look, the Niners alluded to a safety, like, taking a safety, like, they didn't John Lynch didn't give a vote of confidence. Like, you could have gone safety and then Black, and it's like, all right, well, maybe the safety fails, but at least, hey, guess what? We got Black anyway. It's about getting the 2-for-1, the valuation, the simple economics, so you're not overspending, over investing.
I need your advice. I have my dynasty draft on Saturday. It's all day. I'm picking 12th out of 12 teams because I won last year. Humble brag. And like, I feel like the tier of good players falls off at like 9. And so I'm picking between like probably Ty Simpson, DeJon Stribling. Should I take Kalen Black with the 12th pick? What do you think? He was the second best running back in the draft, right? Steal at 12.
I mean, I guess it depends how many games you think McCaffrey's going to miss. And then is Jordan James going to eat that up? Is there going to be like a mysterious undrafted free? What if they make another running back trade? Like,
are they going to actually play Kalen Black this year? Because they got so much flack that Kyle Shanahan's going to be like, I'll show him. I hope so. I might take Ty Simpson. I have Matthew Stafford. I feel like the only person that should consider taking Ty Simpson in a dynasty draft is someone who has Stafford. I have Stafford. But there's still no guarantee that Simpson ever plays ever.
With Stafford's back, that's the one saving grace. It's like, okay, with his back, like, I know it was fine. Surprisingly, isn't it funny? Like, all regular season, he was fine, but in training camp, it's like, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to start week 1? And how that just evaporated.
Yep.
Was it like,
maybe
wait,
he
were
just
you lying?
didn't want to do training camp.
I was about to say, were you lying?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because I saw Matthew Stafford get smacked a good handful of times, and like, he didn't get up like, my back. Because let me tell you, me waking up today in the bed, I felt more pain than he did getting off when freaking Michael Williams is laying him on his ass.
Chris Bond 1697 says, do you agree with Kyle Shanahan? Primary concern entering draft was number of players they would get. Yeah, man, he says some interesting things. He was like, his primary concern is that they only had 6 picks and they felt like a big win was getting 8. Also was fearful team might only get as few as 4 players, trumpeted turning 6 picks into 8 plus 2027 sixth. Is that as important as a certain? This is a great question. And I wrote it down and I meant to make it a topic. So let's make it a topic. Was turning 6 picks into 8 in an admittedly awful draft a win?
No. I mean, trading down to me made sense on one end because you want to get as close to aligning the value of these players as possible. It's because, like, obviously, look, number one, everyone wanted to trade down. So the fact you're able to trade down that many times, like, okay, cool, solid. But if you're still going for the players that look like reaches, what's the point in the first place? You might as well have taken those guys who are maybe more proven productive players, impactful players, at least for over a year. And look, and I'll answer this topic with another topic. When I said, like, what are 3 players that are automatics to make this roster this year and not? Because I think you can look, the 3 automatics that are going to make it. Obviously, Deshaun Stribling, right? Kalen Black, even though we have seen them not give running backs that roster even in the first year, but I think Kalen Black now they have to. And the third, probably Romello Haight, because it's like we don't have a pass rushing specialist. We need it, and they want to fill in players that address obviously that immediate need. And then the rest, who are the ones that are definitely not going to make it? I don't see any of those 2 linemen they took going to make it. Because look, Carver Willis, you guys asked them Carver Willis, and all freaking Kyle Shanahan had was 2 sentences. Yeah, we're going to try him inside, and we'll see. It's like, what the hell? Like,
he could easily go on the practice squad.
Don't sound too optimistic about this guy who you spent a 4th round pick. Was it a 4th round or 4th round pick on? Which is, look, it's not like it's like okay, we can get something decent that can help us, but it's like we don't know. So you just kind of just drafted the draft. Like, you guys went auto draft almost.
Duggar practice squad, Enrique Cruz practice squad.
They said,
you turned it into 8 picks, but how many going to make the team? 5, 6, 5?
Enrique Cruz, they didn't mention, Godwin said nothing about his run blocking, his pass blocking, his strength, his work ethic, nothing. They just said, we liked his athleticism. We liked his speed, his vertical. Like, what the hell? Like, wait, what? Like, what is this, a wide receiver, a corner, a linebacker? Wait, you can't. So what you're telling me is this guy is very agile. He's quick, so he can get to the spot, but
so what you're probably not going to make the team.
Yeah, man, I just don't. A lot of these picks are just like. So when people say, like, "What can you do better?" Probably, yeah. Look, have you seen their history last 5 years?
I think ChatGPT could do better.
And you know what's funny? I think it can, because I actually asked it, and I was going to take a screenshot, but it wasn't consistent with the players. It was mixing up players of this year and last year, but it did say, "Hey, ChatGPT, what should the 49ers take at 33 or this pick?" Well, given like how much they invested in Brock Purdy's contract, and given the lack of longevity on the offensive line, it makes sense to draft offensive line. I was like, holy crap, this makes more sense than the freaking what these guys are doing.
It's true. Joe JC says Kawakami's routine of pretending like it's hard to understand why we're fed up with years of bad drafting is driving me insane. Also, that Mexico shirt goes hard.
Hey,
Joe JC.
I have seen Kawakami, like, obviously. Well, he always talks down to people, man, because he's on a mountain and he likes to belittle people.
Yeah, I feel like Lombardi kind of like stole that from Kawakami did that first, and Lombardi stole his flow on that one because
honestly in 2019 when I was first on the beat, like, Lombardi was kind of chill, but then
he was.
A few years later, then something happened. Well, people started realizing Jimmy G sucks, and then he went like, he went like behind my
dark mode.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, stay behind me, Jimmy. Don't. You think if they reenact the Titanic, who's Jack and who's the girl?
But I mean, like, when you were in such a big part of your job is getting certain people on your podcast, I feel like it's pretty predictable what's going to happen. Sorry to take a shot, but it is what it is. Dazza says, can we see what Garendo and James look like before drafting? Fuck no. Absolutely not. That's not how we do business around here, man.
Garendo's been eating. And look, I'm not mad at the Garendo thing, because apparently he was not that good in camp. And if that picture of him is real, because even if it looks real, I don't 100% believe it. I didn't even 100% believe the Rossini Vrabel thing, because I never believe anything online until later on. So Garendo looks chunky right now. So he's out. He's done. So Black, Jordan James.
Also almost 26 years old. It's crazy to me.
That's the thing about when you get the league, though. These guys are just like, these guys, once you get that money and that success and fame, like I'm pretty sure when he went off against the Bears, that was just like he just felt like it was peak. And that's the thing
Yeah.
about these players that it makes sense. It's not uncommon.
Yeah. 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 Lamont 757 says they should have gotten Raiders running back Washington Jr. I like him. Reminded me of Mostert, but they already have Garando, so why bring in him? Let's do a little pause for prize picks. We got NBA action tonight. We got Denver and Minnesota. How about Jokic to start 29.5 points? They've been holding them in check, more or less for Jokic. Gotta say less, right? Or is he gonna break through tonight? This is the night.
I think tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night. I like your optimism. Okay.
Tonight is the night.
Julius Randle, 23.5, more or less. Ugh.
Less.
He's not doing that twice in a row. How about Cameron Johnson? No, let's do Aaron Gordon, Bay Area legend. 11.5 points, more or less.
He's been kind of hurt, but less.
All right, cool. Tim Hardaway, Rudy Gobert, Bruce Brown, Mike Conley's old ass. Mike, my age, 5.5. Can he get to 5.5 tonight?
Less.
Yikes. He's great, man. Who would have thought at Ohio State he would have had this long career and Greg Oden wouldn't? Oh. I guess anyone who saw Greg Oden limping around. Jaden McDaniels, last one, 18 points, more or less.
Less. I gotta go with the trend.
There's so many Gen Z people named Jaden. It's incredible.
Who's a raw athlete named Jaden? Was there someone raw that people just want to name him after? Because imagine Michael Jordan in his heyday. People just wanted to start naming their kids Michael or Jordan.
Yep. And then like 10 years ago, there was every draft, there were like 3 Shaqs and a Kobe.
Yeah.
But there's never, ever a LeBron. Have you noticed that? I've never, ever heard of another person named LeBron in my life.
I think it's because LeBron actually sounds too blatant at that point.
Yeah, you can't.
It sounds way too. It's like, this is my favorite player. I love this kid. So this is just too much. This is too much.
All right, putting 60 on it, flexing it, submitting it. Download Prize Picks. Simple as that. Use promo code HMA. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups instantly when you use promo code HMA. All right, we got more. Got more. Let's step back. We've talked about what Kyle Shanahan said. Why did Kyle Shanahan do this interview? I can't remember him going on Rich Eisen a week after the draft before to like clarify things.
Because of your fault. It's
my fault, man.
Because first of all, Twitter social media is already going off, and obviously Kyle doesn't care about that. But I think when it comes to that, and then media attention, look, Warren Sharp literally made an article because of you. So I want you right now to create
I wasn't going to go that hard. I just had one question to ask. Warren went super hard.
Which he's right. He's valid. Like, look, like consensus or not, like obviously it's a bunch of media people and you just average it out. Like I get it. Like I get why you can feel that way, but hey, when you are hitting less than 0% of the time, it's not gonna. So you need to recreate that Drake meme where after like the Raptors won, he's like, look around you, I created this. So you're gonna have to do that. So. And it's going to be a sickening. That's going to get annoying for me, but you got to do that. You got to do that because it's a fact. It's most likely why he's doing it. He's doing damage control. I just saw Sean McVay do that for Ty Simpson. Like
it's very similar, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean? I was angry because backlash media started commenting on it, then Twitter, the social media. So when you get the trifecta of all of it, then it's like, I gotta put this fire out. So Kyle doesn't care if like people online. He said that for years, and people have hated on him. Whereas the game position, we're not. But it's the fact that you and then other media hopped on. Now it's like this is pissing me off. Like, hey, like, what's up, guys? Like, I mean, he even like 3-4 questions later, like wanted to butt into like I think that bothered him because obviously I think number one because he saw like, oh, you pissed off John. That's my boy. So now I'm having to like because I think that's why he's like it's one thing if I get pissed off, I'm the coach, but you. I've never seen John answer you like that. So I'm pretty much, he wanted to go tell you to go F yourself 1,000%. So yeah, I think it's damage control. It's PR. It's like, hey guys, cause he has never, unless I'm dumb since 2019, since I started covering his team, have ever seen him do an interview immediately days after he does a pick. Maybe a Trey Lance one, but that's like, okay, like how excited are you? Whatever. That's like a big prime time, but nothing after that.
But here's the thing though. I feel like the reason this all became so big is because same thing with the Rams and Ty Simpson. Like McVay was not prepared for that moment. It's like, yo, man, people's minds are blown that you drafted Ty Simpson. It's not just what you say right now. It's how you're sitting there, what you look like. People are going to read into everything. And he wasn't prepared for that. So we had to double back the next day and be like, man, that was so weird. Why were people overanalyzing? I love Ty Simpson. And you're like, I don't know. And so it's hard to clean up a mess that you created because you weren't prepared. And I think that the Niners are the same way. It's like you walk in all comfortable on the last day, completely oblivious that everyone on Twitter and like in real life that's been watching this draft, like, man, the Niners are among the teams reaching more than anyone. And why are they doing it? Because they do it every year and they suck at it. And like everyone's saying it. And so they walk in like no one's going to ask us about it. Maybe not. But if someone does, what do you want to say? You want to say what Kyle said right here. Like that was perfect, but they didn't. They weren't prepared. And now you got to double back and clean it up. And we already remember what John said. And it's like, it's not as effective. It's always better to get out in front of these things, especially when it's so obvious. They always like condescend to Twitter, right? I mean, it's a great tool to see what people are talking about when it comes to you. I'm just saying, throwing it out there.
I just think
it's not like I made it up. Like everyone was talking about it. I just was like, okay, I'll ask the obvious question, I guess.
And it is a trend. It's like, and look, the thing is about every Niners draft, I have never felt too high or too low. If anything, I lean more a little positive side. I don't try to get, because I think getting too high or too low is.
I was probably too positive about it.
Yeah, even me too. Like I think the only one I recollect saying like, we draft Nick Martin. I was like, I hate this pick. And so far I look right after 1 year. So I don't like that pick. Still don't. But everything else is like, okay, Micah Williams. I didn't like Micah Williams either too. I was like, is this Cleveland Farrell 2.0? Which he's better, but maybe it is. Whatever. Jury's still out. Whatever. I like that draft. Hell, when they drafted Jake Moody, which I also called on this show, I said like, you know they're gonna end up drafting a kicker. I didn't say when, but they're gonna draft a kicker. I wasn't even that down on drafting a kicker, and that's the most egregious thing you can do. Now I did say like, okay, yeah, I'm stupid for that. But I was trying to really understand their mindset, their process. It's like, okay, I get it, the needs. But this year was just like, this feels too egregious because now it's like, what's up with these left and right fields? Like you're trying to outthink the room too hard. Like if you do 3 picks of that, I get it. You're not no one's saying to do consensus all the time. It's like, it's obviously, well, what the hell do fans and media know? We're not going to get things right either, right? But there is a history. There's a proven track record. Like I think even Sharp wrote that when you go so far left and so far right throughout the whole draft, not just 1, 2, 3 picks, but the whole draft, all 8 of your picks, then you're begging to have depth for like the next several years.
Yeah. So Kyle Shanahan cleaned it up, took control of the narrative. And I think most people are on the Niners side now because Kyle did such a good job in this interview with Rich Eisen. And I just want to point out before we get out of here that Kyle Shanahan did the interview with Rich Eisen, not John Lynch. And I would think it's so interesting when we talk about like, why is John Lynch here, right? Because no one really thinks he picks the player. Like everyone kind of knows, right? Like he's kind of a shadow GM because Kyle doesn't want the flack. And he's just here to talk because he's so articulate. But it's like, he's not even the talker anymore. He had his chance to explain the draft. He gave like 2 sentences, didn't help things. And now you got Kyle Shanahan doing 15-minute press conferences with Rich Eisen, coming off great. And it started at the Super Bowl when he did the pregame show. He was great. And I almost feel like, man, I think he has a brighter future in media than John does at this point. And what does he need John to speak for him anymore? It seems like he speaks for himself very well. He's not the 37-year-old they hired 10 years ago. He's damn near 50. And I think he can explain football and his team better than John. Just saying.
But also, why did Kyle leave John out there like talk for like 95% of that? I was literally watching it by day 3. I was like, you know, he barely spoke, gave like 4 answers through 2 days. And even on day 3, like he gave like 2 or 3. And one of them was the short one to Carver Willis. And the second one was like to clap back at you 4 questions later. It's like, why are you
It would be so funny if we only addressed our questions to him at those post-draft press conferences. Like, okay, John, thanks. Kyle, you make the pick. So let's.
No, I mean, I think eventually I was thinking like, how come no one's just saying like, so Kyle, what do you think about this? And I think if there was a few times people started catching on in there, but it's like, look, when you make it open, when you don't direct anyone, John's going to take it. And if you say, obviously, hey, John's going to take it. So you're going to have to say like, hey, Kyle, what did you like? Like I think Barrows did that about Willis. So it's like, okay, cool. Thank you. And he gave this thing is like, oh, what the hell? Like, So you don't sound enthusiastic, optimistic, or sound too. So it just sounds like this guy's just like, can he play inside or not? No, project. Throw him into the practice squad. Enrique
When you
Cruz.
ask John, like, why'd you like this guy? What's he gonna say? Oh man, we were so convicted about him. We were so convicted. He's so physical. He's a great person. Like you don't really get a lot of insight from John. He sounds good, but I think if you're comparing answer for answer, I think at this point Kyle's are more substantive, and it's not like I mean, yeah, he still says here and there, but not as bad as he did 10 years ago. I just think he's outgrown John. I don't think he needs John to hold his hand or speak for him or any of that anymore. I think what he needs is someone to help him scout. Like the whole highlight method is not good enough, man. You got to do better. And John's not. And in Kyle's defense, John doesn't seem to be helping. Like, are you watching the highlights? Or there's. I'm just saying they really need like an expert here, and John seems to be not.
You know what else? I wonder how
He went
like
to Stanford.
I wonder how their scouting process has changed. Like I know he gave like behind the curtains look of it this year, but how's it changed like year to year, even 5-10 years ago when you first started? Because there has to be some sort of trend where why do you guys suck since 2022 at drafting players? I mean, 2021 is the last one you guys had adequate starters and players beyond like their initial contract, like Diamond Lenore. The last time you had a Pro Bowler, and look, we can't even throw Brock Purdy in that because we all know, as it's on the record, Brian Greasy made that pick. And by that time, you're making the last pick in the draft. No one cares. No one thought he would be anything. So that's just like you struck gold without looking for it. So that's awesome. If
they took Tariq Castro Fields before Purdy in round 7. And I think the reason they took Purdy there is like, we don't want to get in a bidding war against other teams for a UDFA. Let's just take him now so we have him.
Yeah, it's like, and if Greasy's this emphatic about him, it's like, hey, well, he's cheaper and he likes him. Let's just see what he can do with it. Why not? We never know. And then one thing leads to another. So that's why sometimes it is good to listen to your position coaches, especially on day 3, right? That I just do really wonder, like, what's your process like? Because Matt, watch this year become like it really is like, okay, no more than 2 players have done anything for them. But then it's, but then people are probably going to chalk it up to like, look, the draft was bad, and it's like, well, they could have at least like changed their process the way they went about it. And I don't know. I just think like the most funniest thing about this whole week about like slandering, giving them criticism about their draft are the people who are in defense of the Niners draft class.
Process.
Yeah. It's one thing. Look, it's one thing to say like to be hopeful. Well, let's just wait and see. It's another thing to bash me or you or anyone else who wants to slander the 49ers, criticize the 49ers about like their process about this draft stinks. Because it's like, hey, last time I checked, they haven't earned the benefit of the doubt of any sort of trust given the last 5 years. And you could mention their 5 fifth-round picks that they had success, 8 years ago? Like so something's changed now and it's not working. And when it comes to
that's like pointing to the Warriors to be like, well, they drafted Klay Thompson. It's like, yeah, man, that was a long time ago. They drafted Steph Curry. Yeah, man, that was a long time ago. Who have they drafted in the last 5 years?
There are parallels to that. And
yeah,
and look, and then watch the same people were like, let's just wait and see, like they drafted well or whatever, and wait until the regular season comes. Nick Bosa tears his ACL or Christian McCaffrey out for the year. Kalen Black averages 3 yards a carry. It's like, oh, great. The guys you were hyping up saying, did they find the stud? Now all of a sudden you're wondering why the Niners don't have good players, how they get better. It's because it starts with their freaking drafting. It starts with their drafting. Dude, is Bobby Turner even a good running backs coach anymore? Like, I was thinking about that because a lot of slack I've been seeing lately the last year is like, is Chris Eric even that good? It's like, yeah, I wonder, because when they bring in players who have been in other systems, they do a great job of that, but they don't do a good job of growing players in their own system. Same thing with Hankerson, same thing with Forrester. Like is it the players? Is it the system? Is it the coach? Like, and what's Bobby Turner doing? Like, all of these warrants questions.
Sean for the win says, does this interview hurt perception of Kyle? I've not seen it yet, but listening to you, it seems kind of dumb he admitted this, especially given the shortcomings. Vets are expensive as opposed to rookies. Nah, I didn't take it that way. I mean, I kind of felt that it was like he was being as transparent as possible, and he said some things that I didn't buy that I would have followed up on, and I think that Rich Eisen should have, but he is such a freaking Shanahan fan. He probably is like best friends with his dad or something. I don't know. But it was clear that he was there to celebrate Kyle and not actually press him on anything. So I don't know. Watch it yourself. I actually come away from it being like, okay, I don't agree with the things he said, but I feel like he has now sort of taken the role of team spokesman away from John Lynch. And I'm wondering, like, is this like hey, John, you really created a mess with that non-answer after the draft. And now I'm going to clean it up and I'm going to speak for you. And I don't even want to do this. Like, this is your job. This is your one job, is to talk, and you can't even do that. So I'll do that. And if these picks don't work out, you're taking the fall, even though I made them. So I don't know. We'll see.
Draft time is fun. This draft time is
It's
definitely
fun.
crazier time. 1,000%.
It's fun to get worked up in late April about football. I like it.
Well, I mean, they gave us something to talk about, so I liked it.
They knew they would. They knew what they were doing when they made these picks. They can't walk out and be like, "What? What?
What you guys judging us for?"
What?" It's just funny. Like, if Al Davis had made picks like this 15 years ago, the whole league, all the media people would just laugh at him. But the Niners make the same picks, and people are like, "Well, they have their own process. Who's to say they're wrong?" Like, to me, the Stribling pick is so much like the Darius Hayward Bay pick. Like, you like his size and his speed. He didn't produce much in college, but you like his size and his speed. Okay, good luck with that, man. All right, he's got to teach him route running and contested catch making. Oh, okay, sure, sounds good.
No, just how to catch. He caught like an alligator. He caught like a dinosaur. Yeah.
DHB. Yeah. Maybe that's not Stribling, but DHB, they took him before Crabtree. It was good times. Do you remember that happened? Do you remember that? How old were you when that happened? I was in college.
How old was I?
You were like 14?
When was that? 2007?
9.
9? I was 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh, they did it again. They did it again.
I remember Crabtree got taken after him, but he was so pissed that he insisted on getting paid more than DHB, even though he was drafted after him, and like he held out because he's like, DHB sucks. I'm not getting paid less than him. He was right.
Damn, holding out as a rookie that's kind of crazy just to think about and remember.
Yeah.
It really makes you
feel
feel old.
Says taco competition Saturday in Santa Rosa. Come on down at Cooperage Brewery. I know you like a good taco. Hella trucks start at 12. Do a food review. Damn, for real.
Oh, dude, you're gonna.
I would, but Saturday is my high school reunion, 20 years, so I can't.
Is it actually?
Sorry. It is. Yeah, I'm old as hell. I would though. I really would go to that. And hopefully there's another one. Let me know. But I got stuff to do on Saturday. Jewish guy says Wes Welker seems like he has a better eye for wide receiver. I don't know what he's even doing these days. What is Wes Welker doing?
Ever since he got,
where is he?
I think he lasted in Miami with 2 years. Is he either in college or?
He's with the Commanders as a assistant. He was with the Dolphins. I don't know, man. Maybe he has a family. Maybe it's just too much time. He was good at his job. I don't know. He was the only one who could keep Deebo Samuel under 220 pounds. He was like, hey, man, we will run together. Let's go. True story.
They had a pretty good close relationship when I used to interview Wes Welker. Like, he always spoke like he knew him, like that's someone like you spent time with him, like not just at work.
And he wasn't just like a guy that, Shanahan drafted who knew the system, which is Hankerson. No disrespect. Like, it's Wes fucking Welker. Everyone knows Wes Welker. He's a Super Bowl champion, isn't he? Yes.
No, it's not.
He dropped that one pass in that one Super Bowl, though. Giselle got mad. But then they got divorced. All right, that's enough. Thank you very much for watching. Shout out to Jose and Prize Picks and Mike Vrabel and all the people watching out there.
What a crazy situation that is.
What are you talking about? Take care, everyone.